Over in America, of course, they've had a bit of an economic setback as well, because the first quarterly results of the economy came out yesterday, and they weren't great. And Donald Trump, of course, is saying it's nothing to do with him. It's all down to Joe Biden. Of course it is. Ryan Harris is here, journalist and reporter over there. Ryan, very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you would expect Donald Trump not to take the blame for anything bad, and he would naturally blame Joe Biden for what happens on the figures front. Is he right, though?
You could say he's partially right, Mike, because the figures that came out for the first quarter, of course, cover the last few weeks of the Biden presidency. But there are several factors involved here, and a lot of them lead back to Donald Trump and his policies. Number one is people rushing to buy up as many imported goods as they can before the tariffs all kick in, which is coming very soon and has already started in some cases. And that's a drag on the gross domestic product. You've also got government spending, which is a fair sector of the economy, but not, the main driver of it. And that's also down because Donald Trump and his crew, including Elon Musk and the Department of Government Efficiency, are trying to rein in government spending. And so they're holding back on some of the money. But the main driver is consumers, and they're nervous, so they're holding back. And that really has curbed spending. Now, the drop is 0.3%.
Yeah.
So it's not huge, but the economy had been chugging along at about 2.5% growth a quarter, and now all of a sudden it's down. And with the stock market also falling, that doesn't help. And of course, Donald Trump is going to blame Joe Biden because that's what he does. And of course, he wants to put it's the greatest hits of Donald Trump.
Yeah, of course.
But when you talk about the economy, contracting, he's trying to avoid the R word, recession. I see it in your graphic there. But if we get 2 straight quarters of economic shrinkage, that's considered a recession.
Yeah.
So now we'll be watching for the next quarter.
But I guess what the interesting thing is for me on this one anyways is what you said about the curb on government spending, because I think a lot of people, both in this country and perhaps in the USA, would like to see a bit less government spending, certainly on some of the wrong things that they spend money on. In our case, spending on welfare is way out of control. Spending on immigrants coming into the country, particularly illegal immigrants, which are costing us billions of pounds a year. People would like to see less government spending, and if that has a knock-on effect to the economy, it might, in the long run, not be a bad thing.
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm one who's always firmly believed, number one, that we should really actually put in a real effort to root out government waste.
Yeah.
But I mean, and we're talking about my personal opinion here. About half of this country is on some kind of dole, and I don't believe that that's always necessary.
No.
Now, there are two, Medicaid and Social Security, which are the two biggest areas where we spend, even bigger than defense spending. And, Social Security is one we've paid into. So that one is one they really shouldn't monkey around with, because there's going to be a lot of us who've paid into it. I've been paying into it for, close to 40 years now. I'd like to have it there and be able to collect it when I'm, going to be 67 now, probably 70 by the time I get there. So the age keeps rising. But, Medicaid is another one, because there are a lot of people who, and it's so much different than, being involved with the NHS. But, there are a lot of people who are on, some sort of medical assistance, and that's a huge, huge expense. It's like $880 billion, and that was one of the targets of Elon Musk and Doge. But it's one that, if you start chipping away at it and start really cutting away at the spending, there are going to be a lot of families, lower income people. And some of them are going to be immigrants, and some of them are going to be illegal. So maybe, that could be an area where we could probably cut a little bit. But I mean, those of us who live here and were born here and are citizens here, and need a little help with our the cost for our medical, because it's so expensive here, that's going to hurt a lot of people if they really slash Medicaid.
Absolutely. There was a surprise visit, which we're going to talk about, to the public sphere again last night in the US, but we'll get to her in a minute. Let's have a look first at Donald Trump, not talking about the economy, but talking about the Pope.
As Pope?
Yeah.
I'd like to be Pope. That would be my #1 choice.
What's your second president?
No, I don't know. I have no preference. I must say we have a cardinal that happens to be out of a place called New York who's very good. So we'll see what happens.
Donald Trump there playing with the press again and being asked who would you like to see as the next Pope. I mean, I suppose it's a question you would ask the President of the United States of America, but I mean, as he says, it's not really his call, is it?
No, not at all. And I don't believe Donald Trump is even Catholic. So I do appreciate your graphic there, orange to white. That's pretty good. You know, I don't know if I'd want the job. I think Pope is probably almost as tough as being president of the United States. Plus, I don't look great in white. I'd be better in the Cardinals outfit because black is more slimming. But, you know, I mean, we're all going to have a say. But anybody who knows anything about Vatican politics, and I think most of us have at least a vague idea of how it goes, knows that, you know, they can talk about front runners and favorites and who it might be. Might it be the cardinal from the Philippines? Might it be the one from Africa? But Pope Francis wasn't among the favorites, and he ended up, you know, winning in the final vote. So it's just a matter of waiting for that puff of white smoke to come out the chimney there.
Yeah, absolutely right. Could be a while, I guess. Yeah, so the person I was talking about earlier who reinvented herself and who decided to re-enter the public square, she hasn't been there for a while, Kamala Harris. Have a look at this. I mean, nothing much has changed, has it? I mean, that takes you back, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes me back to the debate, takes me back to the convention speeches, and you know, it's all smiles and waves, and not a lot of substance there.
And that cackle that still doesn't go away. Here's what she had to say about Donald Trump.
In fact, please allow me, friends, to digress for a moment. Okay. It's kind of dark in here, but I'm asking for a show of hands. Who saw that video from a couple of weeks ago, the one of the elephants at the San Diego Zoo during the earthquake? Google it if you've not seen it. So that scene has been on my mind. Everybody's asking me what you've been thinking about these days. Well,
yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, so I'm not sure what she's getting at there, but apparently it's some kind of dig at Donald Trump. And she's just as useless as she was, you know, a few months back.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if you're going to get out there in front of the people, I would say have something to say. But,
right.
You know, I believe this is something, Mike, that it's not the first time you and I have talked about it. The Democrats really need to have what, you know, we here in America often call a come to Jesus moment, where they need to figure out how to get their own house in order. You've got most of the people who are left leaning, who are closer to center, but you've got a Democratic Party that has allowed its far left progressive wing to run the agenda.
Yeah.
And that's why they lost so badly to Donald Trump in the November election. They're tone deaf when it comes to, you know, what the people even in their own party wants. And, you know, I often think it would be nice if we were, you know, not necessarily a parliamentary system, but if we were like Britain or Canada, where we had multiple parties and you could, you know, put the people in that far left ideology in their own party. But we saw what happened in Canada. Yeah. It wasn't the far left candidates that won. It was, you know, it was the people that were closer to center left. In fact, the running joke is Donald Trump, because we've also seen his poll numbers plummet, especially in recent weeks, and in the last 5 most recent polls, they're as bad as they've ever been. But they say Trump is so unpopular that he's even losing elections in other countries. And so, you know, if we could do that, I would love to see us split up the 2 major parties into 4, but there's too much money and too much infrastructure, you know, dialed in for both of them, that it'll never happen. And until they figure out where they're going to get the most votes and be able to appeal to the most people, the Democrats are not going to have power for a long time.
No, it looks very much like that. Just one final thing, Ryan, before I let you go. Overnight, it's been revealed the US Treasury's announced it's agreed to establish an American-Ukrainian reconstruction investment fund. Looks like a sort of minerals deal that was talked about some months ago has come to some fruition, which is an interesting development, to say the least.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it. It's not the first time they've talked about, the United States being involved in taking advantage of the mineral wealth of Ukraine. And, there are other economic opportunities there. And I think Donald Trump, I said when he first did it that he was wise to try to strike that mineral deal before working a peace deal, because if they get peace, then Ukraine's not going to sign any deal to give up its natural resources. And it looks like he's doing the same thing here. And, again, this is an opportunity for President Trump to get the United States in a place where it can take advantage of the economic opportunities there and make some money to help repay the billions and billions of dollars that the United States has sunk into helping Ukraine. Now, do I think it's, a terrible waste of money? Not necessarily. I don't know if I would like to see Mr. Putin start marching across Europe. I mean, we've already been down that road before, and it did not go well until the end. And, thank goodness for our friends in Britain, because if we weren't working together, I always say we'd all be goose stepping now.
Yeah, well,
but we've got to do something, and if it means getting back some of the money we've spent, I'm all for it.
Okay, good to talk to you. Ryan Harris, thank you very much indeed, journalist and reporter there.